and they think the event frames them. If you have friends that have been living about tragic events, possibly from years, here's what the bottom line is. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. Jack Canfield, Mr. Chicken Soup, calls it E plus R equals O. E is event, R is response, and O is outcome. And the interesting thing is I've done a lot of studies about two people facing the exact same event. One thrives and prospers, and one lives in self-pity and dread. And the key is how you respond. And one can always choose to respond positively. So there's no one here that doesn't know me, but I hope that puts 60 seconds worth of value in your motivated minute.
Thank you very much, Wayne, for that. And we had some technical stuff this morning, but we got it all figured out so far. It looks like everything's working. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the East edition of Phoenix. And thank you, Wayne, for coming and being Wayne for an hour. Or I mean, being Wayne, being Bernie for an hour. And we've had quite a lot of shifts over the last while. We just had our last week we had our get together with Dave, and again, thank you, Dave, for having us share your home and your hospitality at your home. And we had the chance to meet a few new people that came to the meeting there. That was great, and we're having some of our stats has been interesting, to say the least. Our referrals so far are sitting at 297. Could anybody guess what the BAMs would be with some of the patterns that you've seen? Anybody want to guess? If the referrals are 297, what would the BAMs be?
900?
No, it's 296.
Oh,
it's
geez.
one off. And that's going to be sort of a theme that we're going to ask you guys over the next 2 weeks, because we want to really see if we can prove beyond any doubt, and it's been like this for years, but it's always amazes me that when people are doing a BAM, this business activity meeting, for those that are watching on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn, a BAM is a business activity meeting, and that is when two of our members get together and they chat. They have a separate time outside of these type of meetings, and they talk about everything: their family, their dog, that they built a new deck in the back, that they just got a new car or something, and they just sort of build that friendship. Whenever we have more of those, it seems energetically there's more referrals, even though it's not a sales call, so to speak. It's not like we get together and it's a sales call. We want to sell something. It's actually the exact opposite, where it's so subtle, and then we somewhere in that conversation will say to the other person the different things that are happening in product wise or service wise, that you might have added something new. With someone like Matt, he would be more focused on air quality, air conditioning, that sort of thing. But he's going to be ramping up soon with furnaces, because that season will be coming too, and I can't do it like right, 24 hours later. You have to sort of book it, and it's good to have that in mind if your furnace isn't running very good. But when you meet with him, he talks about fishing. He'll talk about his kids, and that's the idea, is to really make it so we get closer together and in those BAMs. So what we're going to do is over the next couple of weeks, we want you to do as many BAMs as possible to see if that would increase your business. And because the stats don't lie, so we want to see in reality if that happens. But here's the thing. We've also noticed that when you do a BAM with somebody, it's not necessarily you're going to get business from that person. Energetically, it's going to come from someone else, even outside of Phoenix. So you could be meeting with, let's say Wendy or Jacqueline or Penny Lee, and then all of a sudden someone that isn't even with Phoenix calls up out of the blue and orders something from you. It's part of that. Even though it's not considered a BAM when we do it that way, as we are doing business with other people, the BAMs are so close to the business. So we want to really show that. So if you're used to maybe doing one BAM a month or whatever, try and do about 3 or 4 every week just to see if that would actually do anything. So I want to use this as sort of a case study to see if we go out of our way to meet with somebody, how does that increase our business? So when we can make that relation because we see it on the stats, and we want to see that if that actually makes a difference in you, because when we meet, it's so much more fun. But sometimes people say, like I don't really don't have the time to go for a BAM to meet with people. And I'd rather just sort of go get back to work. And I understand that totally, totally get that. But there is a relation. So all we're sort of getting you in the challenge in the next couple of weeks is just to say, okay, I'm going to do 2 BAMs this week. I normally don't do that. I don't have time. And I'll go out of my way to just meet with a couple of members from this group and then maybe a couple from another group, whether it's the Monday group or the Thursday group. Just go out of your way to see that and see if that makes any difference. Because then all of a sudden, a member that you didn't even talk to orders from you, and it's business in that. So energetically, it has that style. So let's look at a few of our stats over and above that. And as far as business wise, we're at 107,000. We're in July. We normally do about 225,000 for the year. So we are right dead on in July. That 207 is very consistent. And our e-card is 5,226 hits. And we are monitoring that over the longer term to see as we start connecting our clients with our e-cards, because we're monitoring it, then we're seeing that our people starting to come in through the e-cards. I went to an event recently, and it was just amazing. Where somebody said, we had a very quick introduction, like about a 20-second introduction, just about what we do. And somebody came up to me and says, "I think I need to see you." And I just opened up my phone and I said, "Okay, well, here's my e-card," and showed him my QR. And everybody has one. If you open up yours, you'll find it right on the first little section. When you scroll up, you just make it bigger, and they could QR it, and everything is on there. I made very, very lot of exhausting work to make sure that everything you do is on that sort of a mini website that people can get into that's hooked up to your QR. So this way, they know your website, how to get a hold of you, and if you have a calendar. And by the way, if you do have a Google Calendar, like a digital calendar, and it's not on your e-card, let me know, because we can embed that too. Make it very ultra simple for people to find you, to do business with you. And we've even gone so far as to be able to get people to pay you easier. At the very top of mine is called a quick pay. And there's 3 different categories that if they come in for a tuning, if they come in for a reading, and if they want to come into one of my Friday classes, and they want to subscribe for that. And that it just a quick, and they can do it right on their phone. It goes right to the pay or the shopping cart, and it's in. This way, people they want to pay you. That's important. So if people can find you, people can pay you. It makes it a little more valuable as far as getting in touch and sharing that e-card information with somebody else. Okay. See if there's anything else here that we've got. Oh, let's see. I'm developing a new system of tuning there. What you saw. Well, this is our pbex.ca site. If you're ever got a new computer and you don't remember what the Zoom number is in it, it's in our QR. It's in our QR, of course, but we also have our red buttons, which has the Monday, Wednesday, and the Thursday group in there. And of course, once a month, we have our after hours group. This is from 7 to 8, and Penny Lee heads that up, and she does an amazing job there. And the member of the week this week is Norm Boyer. And when Wayne and I came on, the first thing he said, he says he likes the concept of norm. I thought that was great. In the special events, well, I have a few. Of course, Penny Lee has her healing and her dance Nia classes, and all of it's posted there in that button. We had our Bell's Corners get together on Monday. And our South one is happening next week. That's on next Thursday at the River Lounge on Prince of Wales. All right. And to sign up for that, you just press this red button if you want to come in for that. Starts at 7:30, ends at 8:30, and we're done. And then you're on your way back. We're working. You should be back at the office. Most people get back within a half an hour. So unless you want to stay, or if somebody has any questions that they want to order something or get some more information, then you could stay after. But we're done at 8:30. And as far as playing golf, there's a way that you can play golf. Let's say you're a last minute person, you want to sign up and be part of that for Make a Wish, you can do that. And there's the sponsor button. All right. And I do my meditation every Friday at 1:30. And the next one is, of course, the July 19th. And this is the button to sign up for that. We do different topics every week. And it's a great time to be able to just focus on those things. All right. So let's get back here. Okay. So let's start with our introductions. All right. And if we could start with Matt. How's it going there, Matt?
Morning, everybody. I'm not doing too bad. I've been a little under the weather for the last week or so here. Starting to get my voice back a little bit, but still feeling kind of rough. But yeah, it's one of those good old summertime colds, I guess, or whatever the heck you want to call it, flus or bugs or whatnot. But yeah, don't wish. Hopefully nobody else gets this one. This is not a good one. So. Anyways, yeah, Matt Ledard here, Arizona HVAC Services. Everybody kind of knows what I do here. I deal with keeping people comfortable and heating, cooling, air quality. Right now, obviously with this heat wave, we've been super busy with air conditioners and heat pumps. Little update here. I know the Greener Homes rebate program had come to an end back in February. And there's always been talk about a release of a new updated program. And as of the 15th, 2 days ago on Monday, a new program has come into effect. Not as lucrative as the last one, where you were getting a $6,500 rebate for your heat pump to be installed. I think you're eligible up to a $2,000 rebate. I'm not super up to date on that yet. I have been kind of off work this week with being sick, so I just knew that there was something coming out, and seems to be a decent program. And at least you get some sort of kickback back from the government, and able to get you a discounted heat pump or air conditioner installed into the home. So yeah, if anybody is in the market for a new air conditioner, heat pump, or furnace, please feel free to reach out to me. Happy to help you out and get set up. As for BAMS, just before July 1st there, I met up with Wendy Chung and ended up getting a new air conditioner installed for one of her clients that she'd sold a new home to. So I'll send you the information for that. Not sure if that's already been reported to you or not, Tony, but yeah, that's something that's come through. So other than that, just been keeping busy out and trying to get people taken care of. So anybody feel free to send them off to me. Matthew Ledard, Arizona HVAC Services, quality you can trust, guaranteed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Matt. And yeah, thank you for the stats. Very awesome there. Cool. And next up is Susan McGarry. Go ahead, Susan. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. I was just getting off my mute. Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. My name is Susan McGarry. I'm with a company called Pure Trim. You're all well aware. And I thought today I would feature our trim bars. These are an amazing meal replacement bar that are vegan, gluten-free, whey-free, soy-free, dairy-free, and absolutely delicious. They come in two flavors. One is chocolate peanut butter and the other one is double chocolate. And what I've done, is I've put the double chocolate in the microwave for 30 seconds, and it tastes like a chocolate brownie. It's absolutely delicious. Not the whole one because it's too much. It's a meal replacement. But what I found is these are really handy if you're driving around or in your car or traveling, because you don't have to do any of those crazy drive-throughs, which really, in my opinion, have doubled in price. A lot of the Tim Hortons, McDonald's, Wendy's, that kind of thing, their prices have really cranked up. So these are $34.95 a box of five rather, and quite economical. So if there's anyone you know and care about that does a lot of traveling and is looking for a great meal replacement, these are a good alternative. Susan with Pure Trim, thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you very much, Sue. And band wise, how did you do last week?
It was extremely quiet. I was dog sitting and looking after my sister's restaurant. So, but this week I will take on your challenge and book some BAMs for
Okay,
sure. Thank you
okay.
so much.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a great experiment. I really am curious to see when we purposely do that if it make any difference. So we'll have some stats in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Susan. And over to Dave.
Hi, everybody. It's Dave Bellow from Bellows Cold Frozen Foods. Thank everybody for coming out last week. Just to give you an idea, I love to do brisket because you can keep it in a holding pattern for about 6 hours. So you can do everything else until everybody's arrived, and then you take out the meat and everybody's good. So anyway, anybody wanting that, have been asked to do that for other people. I normally charge about $250 ish for the service. If anybody wants a cooked beef brisket to their home, I can do that for you. And other than that, I just bought 10 boxes of the certified Angus beef prime bone-in rib steaks, which Eric bought a case before he left there last week. So if you want his opinion on the product, just give him a call. I'm sure he'll give some great reviews for it. When I ate it the first time, I said, "Wow, I don't need teeth. It's that tender, so it's very good." Anyway, I'm all about living life, enjoying experiences, and trying to do that as a reasonable cost to my clients. So, anybody that would like to feel the same way I do and enjoy life and definitely eat the best, I'm a good guy to know. So other than that, other than the meeting last week, I've been pretty quiet. I'll be off for the whole month of August. So I'll be searching to do some bands with you guys before I leave. And that's it for me this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Over to Eric. How we doing there, Eric?
Good morning. Eric is recovering from his soccer practice of last night. I wanted to get up at 6 o'clock this morning to work on a file and then go to this meeting. And I could make it to the meeting, but not to the 6 o'clock wake up. It came really, really fast. Like I'm just back from what seems that I'm just back from holidays, so I haven't been able to, settle down and look at BAMs and look at business development, because I have a lot of business to be done still here that needs to come out, and I'm a great proponent of business development. And I'm sorry that I missed the meeting on Monday because I was ready for a presentation, and at 8 o'clock I go on the Zoom and there's nobody on the Zoom.
I'm sorry about that.
And usually the Zoom tells me Tony will let you in a few minutes or in a little while. Well, that kept turning and turning, and there was no Tony. So I called him, and he says, "Oh, we're meeting outside," I totally forgot, or I wasn't aware that we were meeting other than in Zoom that day. So I'm sorry if I missed the meeting. It was okay to miss it from your perspective because I was going to talk about a very morbid subject. I was going to talk about estate planning and what happens when you're no longer here to your wealth. So maybe that's better for another day. Maybe that's a winter type of topic, not a summer topic.
Well, we can schedule that for next week. No problem.
Yes. I left who I am and what we do on the chat line, and I am making one of my rare appearances on Wednesday because usually I recover from lack of water the day before and a lot of sweating. So today I am recovered from that faster than I could have. And Susan, send me some of those bars because I do tend to miss meals, usually lunch. You tend to use usually lunch, so that will be good.
Yeah, and just to note there, Sue, those bars, they're really good. Just don't put them in the sun. If you have a cooler or something, just try and keep them cold.
Yeah, they do melt.
I was on my motorcycle trip, and I put it in probably the hottest place on my bike, and I said, "Oh yeah, okay." So that was a lesson learned anyway. So it's but the bars are great. They're
becomes a
really
milkshake then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. No, they are great. Okay, and over to Wendy.
Good morning, everyone. Matt, I hope you feel better soon. Dave, thank you so much for hosting last Monday. Your brisket was amazing. It was just nice to be able to get together, even though the weather wasn't the best. Those that could make it out, made it out. And Craig and my mom also enjoyed our doggy bag that you sent us home with. So thank you very much. You're a great host. No BAMs to report, really. It's been a steady week for me in real estate. It was interesting because I showed a property to one of my clients yesterday, and we noticed that on the detail sheet that both the furnace, the air conditioner, and the hot water tank are all rentals. And the amount of the rental amount per month, Matt shaking his head, I totally hear what you're saying, amounted to $240. So can you imagine how a buyer might feel if they have to commit to an additional $240 plus over time? Because as you know, these rental contracts, they go up by a few dollars here and there. You don't really feel it in the very beginning, but it does add up. So we did a calculation, and my client who works in the HVAC business, he did the calculation over a period of 15 years. It's about $32,000 he would have paid. I'm like, oh my God. So the conversation then continues where I messaged the agent and I asked the agent, are the sellers willing to buy out the contract? Because it's very concerning, this rental equipment and how much my clients are committed to paying over the next 10, 15 years. And she said, well, that is a conversation I've had with the sellers. It would depend on the purchase price. So the purchase price or the list price is already overpriced. We checked the numbers last night, and the sellers are really trying to press forward and try to get more money. But then again, you have this rental equipment. So if you know of anyone who is coming up due to either update their furnace or AC or whatever it is, tell them to really think about, whether they want to take on a rental or not, especially if they're going to be selling, because that's not an affordable feature for a lot of buyers. So unfortunately, we may have to bypass this home, which is the home they want. So if we can't have the proper conversation to have the seller buy it out, this may not happen. So if you know of anyone that's in that situation, have them talk to Matt Ledard or myself, because it will make a difference if they're looking to sell the home in the near future or even in the future. It's not something people want to take on. So with any real estate questions, please reach out to me, Wendy Chung, real estate broker with Century 21 Synergy. Thank you. And
Thank
no
you,
bans
Wendy.
to report.
Okay.
Um,
Perfect.
I just wanted to ask you the question there. If you have a lease agreement or with a company and you're no longer the owner, can't you just say, take your equipment back?
No,
No,
you can't, Dave.
you can't
You
do that?
actually have to assume that agreement. And even though you are buying the property, you didn't sign that agreement. That agreement was not made between you and that company, but you have to assume it. And you have to assume all the responsibility and fees that go along with it. So it's a very tough negotiation with these companies. Reliance is a big one, right? I had a fight with Reliance as well, and they sent me to collections. And I fought with collections, and good thing the collection officer was reasonable. He looked at the file and he said, there's something wrong here. You should not be paying any of this. Because I said, show me where I signed that I agreed to all of this. So you know what? It takes a lot of time and energy to do that. And the average person doesn't have the means or the language or the time to fight these companies, and they end up paying, and it's not fair.
A lot of them end up going to court battles, and there's huge buyouts even after your term is up. There's huge buyouts that you have to pay, and it's ridiculous. And like Wendy's saying here, these people have to turn down this house because of this. And I tell people about this all the time, and it's a very common thing. People hear these companies promoting these rental things. Whatever you do, don't do it. Finance it if you have to. Do not rent it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're going to pay 3 times
Oh,
the
easily.
price.
Yeah.
Three to 5 times the amount. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it always comes down to the point that if they want to sell the home, they have no choice but to buy it out themselves before the buyer buys it. I mean, they have to walk away in this case. But yeah, I had a similar case like that in my place. I was with Reliance. That's why we don't allow Reliance in the group. They tried twice, and we turned them down because it doesn't meet our high quality standards. It's there's too many. I mean, the amount of testimonials they have is almost nothing, and there's lots of complaints. So we don't want someone like that in the group. But anyway, that's it is yeah. So make sure you buy it yourself and not rent it. So thank you for that advice, Wendy and Matt. And over to Jacqueline.
Well, Penny Lee disappeared. I know she said she didn't have time. Yeah. So a couple of things, Wendy, that's what makes you extraordinary. For you to say what's in your best interest, it has nothing to do with the sale. It has everything to do with what the client's next steps, the smart steps they're going to make. And of course, Matt, I have to say thank you because Rob came in, took a look at the air conditioner. We had this great conversation. God love him. He said, you need a new air conditioner. But he said it in the nicest way. I love hearing these scenarios where how can I help you do what you need to do? So I very much appreciate that. And I'll be back to you with regard to an air conditioner. But in addition to that, I had an extraordinary conversation because you all know what's happened in Toronto. They had a bit of a flood. The Don Valley Parkway flooded. So I'm from Toronto, and I had to call my family. How are you doing? Did you get caught? Are you good? They said to me, what are you talking about? So apparently, I might be the only one in the family who loves hearing from the CBC and what's happening in other parts of the world. And I'm using that analogy because sometimes people don't understand what's happening around them. And Wendy and Matt just went through, do you understand what's happening underneath you and around you? When I'm talking to people, they say, oh my gosh, are the interest rates going to go up? And then I get to say, well, no, July 25, because Bank of Canada is considering. Eric knows all about what is happening with the money, and I can help you find out what can happen with your money. When you're looking for strategies, with or without a flood. For your mortgage money, you got to contact your mortgage honey.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Good advice. And over to Bernie.
Hi, it's Wayne Pratt for Bernie Friends Growth, and Bernie is relaxing from Blues Fest, and so he sent me. I'm here to tell you about Knack for Business. He's probably told you, but we've done over 200 podcasts, and we need you to listen because it's a fun hour. We've talked to everyone from intellectual property lawyers to actually people who write Westerns, unbelievable doctors and lawyers and accountants. And we want your hour. If you're driving, we're going to beat your radio. So, Knack for Business from your podcast host. You can, if you have a phone, you can plug it into your radio almost always. And we'd love to hear from you. And if you have somebody that has a really interesting story to tell, and you think that our listeners would enjoy that story, get a hold of Bernie. We can change his life by spreading, or her life by spreading the word. And we'd love to have you as listeners. And we're going to be telling you more about swag t-shirts in the fall. Also, we're on hiatus. I saw on the thing that a Tuesday meeting, we're on hiatus till September on War Referral. And but we'd love to have you. So thanks.
Okay, and did you want to say something about Wayne?
Sure, I was going to wait until the order, but fundamentally, you know how when you were 10 years old, you knew exactly what you wanted to be, whether it was an astronaut or a fireman or selling frozen meat? And then life happened. Your culture interfered, your parents interfered, maybe your spouse had opinions, maybe your school teachers had opinions. But the bottom line is you start living somebody else's life. I want to help you be more authentic, have more fun, and live your dreams and goals so you can make more money and have more fun. Wayne at waynepratt.ca.
Thanks a lot, Wayne. And just a reminder that we're in our a new month. So if you have any stats, any business that you've given another member, you can text that to me or put it in the chat under the private thing. You can, and we'll update some of those figures that we have. So far, we're at 107,000. I have to add about $800 to that, so that's constantly climbing. So let me know if there's any business sharing so that we can monitor that and keep that going. Also, if you're not part of the Phoenix YouTube channel, if you can subscribe to that, you get little updates on some of the things that we have. Some of the educational things that we do, we actually post it there. If some of the more prevalent ones that we've done, the miraculous one that Bernie does, and we'll post it if it's something that the other members can really benefit from. Okay. And as far as my business, had a pretty good week last week. Sent Shane Bayless a referral. One was another person that also does physiotherapy, and then I sent him some business there. I ordered some meat from Dave. I don't think I've was able to note this last time, and met with Langdon's Flowers, with Pavel, and with Cremina. Had a BAM with Wendy a couple of weeks ago, and Lana from the Monday group. Ongoing business with Eric. We're still going to do some things with Phoenix and some other stuff. And Susan McGarry, I got the bars, so thank you, Susan. And also the joint pills and the mist. I got that too. I'm actually going to be sending that to Hungary for my aunt. So she's finding it. There's a lot of relief that she's having. She tripped about 10 years ago and limping, and so between the tuning forks and the joint mist, I think she'll be in pretty good hands. And went to Cindy's event last week. She started a program with just getting people together, and that was fun seeing a few people there. It's yeah, so let's that's a good thing we have going there. And okay, so I'm speaking today. I wanted to mention that over the next year or two, it's been coming for quite some time, but it's really ramping up, and a lot of it, some of it has something to do with some of the elections coming up that's going to be changing the energy of this planet. And one thing that is good to be able to keep track of is your energy, the energy of what's going around you. Basically, there are things in play that many of us are not aware of, but the planet vibration is changing. So what does that mean? It means more people having colds, more people are getting irritable, there's going to be more breakups, there's going to be more people just having episodes where they need to speak out and they're angry doing it. And all of these has something to do with managing your energy. When you're just running life in default and whatever comes your way, it's getting to a point where you will need to start focusing on a little bit of what's happening with the vibration and the energy of this world that we're in, because it is shifting. We are going into another zone altogether. Over the last several billions of years, the planet has had a certain vibration, and it hums. And they found this out at NASA when we started putting some of our astronauts into space. As soon as they did, and they were about in orbit, I think there's about 200 miles from the Earth, they were already experiencing vomiting, and they were just getting sick. They had no energy, and so they had to bring them down in the early stages of the Apollo missions. And they didn't understand why. They were fine when they left, but as soon as they're in space and they get to this 200-mile or more zone, people got sick. Well, they realized that the planet has a certain vibration, and it's actually 7.83 hertz. And if you want to know what that is, you can't even hear that. I have a tuning fork that is 131 hertz, and you got to put your ear right at it. It's a very low vibration. So 7.8 is next to nothing, but our body has become accustomed to it. Every plant on this earth, every animal, and as long as we've been around, we are used to this vibration. And our vibration, this is what they call grounding. When we feel this vibration, we feel that we're connected to something. We're connected to this earth, Mother Earth. And when we come away from it, it's like Wi-Fi. You go from a plug-in on your computer, and then it detaches, and you're on a very weak Wi-Fi. It's like going into a bar and trying to do stuff. Sometimes the bar has very, very low Wi-Fi because everybody's using it, and you sort of come off line a little bit. It's just not strong enough. So when this happens, when you're so far away from it, it just dies. That's what happens with your energy. So what they had to do, they had to create a modified energy source inside the capsule when they're leaving that is this 7.83 hertz. And then the astronauts were fine. They were able to go to the moon and back, no problem, other than just other things. But as far as being away from the Earth, they were able to artificially create this so that, and so it's a real thing. And that vibration is changing. It's changing to what it's always been in billions of years because of what's happening on this Earth. Believe it or not, the Earth has intelligence. It's know what's happening on the surface. And with all the things that we see on X and everything else, a lot of us are seeing that there's a lot of turmoil in this Earth. That changes the vibration. And in turn, the Earth is counter doing their thing and bringing up that vibration. So what does this mean? Because in evolution, you're always used to the 7.83. But all of a sudden, it's now going to be 8, and then it's going to be 8.5 and 9. And as that vibration starts to shift, it's just putting our whole system in for a loop. There are people that have never been sick that are all of a sudden now sick, and they don't understand. Oh, maybe it's my age. It has nothing to do with age. Or if you come back from a flight and where you normally were able to get out of the jet lag within 12 hours or a couple of hours or whatever, it's taking longer. All right. There are some different things that you could do to bring it back. One of the things I wear especially when I go on a flight, is a rock called shungite. And it actually absorbs 99% of the EMFs that are under the floor of the aircraft that your body is absorbing, and it's constantly working on you. If you take a 6-hour flight from here to Europe, by the time you get there, your energy has been basically in a microwave. This also happens in many places because you can only imagine there's something like 400 miles of wiring in an aircraft with all the EMFs, and they're all emitting a little bit of electromagnetic field. That's what they call it, EMF, and it really takes its toll on us. So what we do is when we have different types of stone that could absorb that, your jet lag was almost nil. My jet lag was almost nothing. And I gave it to my mom. She's 84 years old. And I had it in her pocket. She has pockets that she could put it in. And she didn't notice anything. But you won't notice anything until you don't have it. Then you realize what the heck happened, and that's why, because your whole body is not only away from the Earth at 33,000 feet. There's a little bit of a disconnect there. You're also battling whatever's happening in the electronic part of it in the aircraft. So let me know if you're going on a large flight. There are flights that are 13 hours, 15 hours. And the longer the flight, people say, well, it's just jet lag because I've been on the plane for a long time. And it isn't, because your whole body is battling this EMF. But what's happening with power, now that we're talking about power, is that there's certain things that we sort of attest to when it comes to power. And this was one of the subjects that we did a couple of weeks ago on my Tuning In with Tony episode on Fridays. And if you aren't able to make that, we have recordings that we can send you each week for that. But I want to give you a small excerpt of what we talked about in that particular class. Okay, it's going to be fascinating. Hopefully, we'll have enough time to cover some stuff, and hopefully, it'll help you here. So let's go right in there and. Hope you like it. We do feng shui classes, we do mediumship classes, angel tuning classes. We have a lot of different ways that we could try to activate something within you. And even these classes that we do every Friday, there is a program where you can get them every week coming in. And so hopefully today's class will spur something on that will make you think and make you look at power in a different way. All right. So today's color, green. We are surrounded by green today, and I'm looking at the weather today, and it's supposed to be cloudy, overcast, and there's not a cloud in the sky, and there's lots of sun, so it's good to see that. Whenever we look at the thing about green, we're always reminded of growth, and that is a theme today, growth. One of the things that we want you to really know is that right now, everything, every person, every plant, every animal are going through a shift. Some of us are getting hit a little more than others. And really, to be honest, what this energy is picking on, if I can use that word, is those that are really on a spiritual path, because they want to be able to get to this higher vibration that the planet is sort of triggering to go to. The ones that are just not sure, if you're a personal trainer and somebody says, yeah, bring it on. I like those people. They say, just bring it on. And, they are the ones that get the better training, and they go further to try and train you more. Yes, they do whip you into shape, but in doing that, they make you stronger in the end. So this is what's really happening. If you're going through a flu-like symptom or a cold, or you're just down, you're feeling you have no power, no energy, it's okay. Your whole body is trying to shift with this new energy that's being upgraded. This is going to probably last about 2-3 weeks, maybe a little longer, depending on how it all works. It's all going to be centered around the solstice in June, and it's quite the energy to do this. But it is a power outside that is trying to upgrade you inside. All right. So that's really what's happening. A lot of the doubts that we have are usually coming from low energy, and so this energy wants to sort of eject those kinds of energies so you can move freely towards whatever it is that you want. So let's talk about power for a minute. Before we really start looking at the power itself, we want to know what it is that this energy, just to sort of finish that a little bit, this energy that we are going through, again, is almost like you've outgrown something. As a kid, when your shoes get too small, your socks have holes in it, when the things you're wearing is just getting too tight, it means you've outgrown something. Something in your energy has outgrown itself. Lobsters do this all the time. Lobster shells don't grow. Lobster shells are very rigid. They're hard. That's part of its protection. So the way the lobster grows is that it forces these shells off at a certain time when it's tight, and they've overgrown it, and they actually pry it right off of them with a rock or different things under the ocean. And then for a while it has to stay undercover, because now the soft belly or underneath part of the shell, it has to harden. It has to get to this other level, and that takes a couple of weeks at least. So for a while it's very vulnerable. All right, and that's what's happening with our energy. We're kind of vulnerable. We're thinking that, okay, I hope everything's okay, and it is. All right, you're all okay. You're just in that point where you're changing your shell. You're not that you have a shell, but you're changing the way that your energy is of what it used to be. It won't be like what it used to be. So it's almost like you're harnessing your own power within based on the growth that your energy wants it to go. So that's the long and the short of it. But everything is healthy, everything's good. Those that have any doubts about their health should always go to a doctor anyway, just to get that human validation that physically we're okay. The blood pressure's okay. Any of the tests for your blood comes back good, positive, or it comes back and everything's fine. And if that's what you need, then that's fine. Then by all means, Spirit says go get that done. But overall, if you feel you're fine, then it's okay. It's all in that realm. But when we talk about power in this way, we need to really define what power is in its true essence, okay? Because we're searching for many ways to activate this power. I mean, just look at all the different ways that we try and replicate something outside of us. I mean, we use pendulums. We use divining rods. We'll use meditation. We'll use rocks or crystals and necklaces, and there's different things that we might have and give power to all of that, okay? And this is what, because we always want to connect to the spirit realm by going through some of those things. Crystals are very good. There's many that will help you connect to that way. And in the beginning, it's all good because you're using it as a help. But after a while, you start to get good at it. You ever notice that? When you start getting really good at the pendulum, you just got to start your pendulum and it's already going and doing stuff, okay? It means the pendulum has connected to you and it knows what it wants and it just goes right into it. I got a new set of divining rods the other day, and these are copper rods that they use to find water or to use to find different things, but you can actually ask it questions. So one lady that I saw in one of the programs there had a divining rod, and I said, hey, I should get one of those. And they came in the other day, and so it's right now, I didn't ask any questions because right now it's like 500 people have been touching it, and from manufacturing to shipping and all that stuff. So it has to now adapt to my energy. And so I'm giving it lots of time because it has intelligence to be able to adapt to it. Eventually, we're going to be working together, okay? And that's what I told it. I said, we're going to be working together, so I'm not going to stress on you and ask you any questions. Just use this time for you to adapt to me. And that's the way that I usually work my energy. Because this cosmic bank of insight and intelligence is what we feel we need, right? To connect in order to attain that of which we lack, right? Because when we are looking for insight, what do? We look at things outside of us. We look at pendulums. We look at maybe even if you know somebody like myself, people call me all the time for various things, and they're looking for insight, and I'm always happy to give it. After a while, though, as a teacher, I always like to sort of turn things around a little bit and say, well, what are you getting? And then based on that, and just to force that person to say, well, okay, I'm kind of getting this, and that's what I'm getting too. Most times that's what I say, and because that's what's happening. But they just want final validation, and that's okay, all right? But what Spirit is saying here is when we look at the things outside of us, we need to really be aware of something. That as you become more used to crystals, and as you become more used to pendulums and things like that, eventually, what does it do? It basically, and even athletes do this all the time. You know, the rabbit's foot. If you rub a rabbit's foot, it's good luck. You could win a game. Basketball players and runners, especially, they have a lucky running shoe. They have several shoes. Most of them have like a half a dozen or a dozen different shoes for training, and then they have different ones. But they have one shoe that they use for the race. Okay, and this is their lucky shoe. And they feel that those shoes are going to make them win the race, go faster or go longer if it's a marathon, okay? And so when we look at things like that, or crystal or things like that, but you got to realize one thing, that the very notion that you, if you want to be more powerful, must connect to something outside of you, this distinguishes or extinguishes the power within you. Think about it. If the power is within you, and it is, if you're looking for something outside of you to connect to that power, then it doesn't really exist, because you're looking for the catalyst, something that will shake things up, something that will stir you or activate something. Or people come to, let's say, Phoenix. They'll go to Phoenix, Arizona. There's a place that they have vortexes. Anyway, it's I can't think of it right. It's Sonoma, I think. And this is a place where they have vortexes everywhere. So if you go into a vortex, you just get this incredible energy that coming out of the ground. And they say that really was the catalyst for them to get to this higher level. And there are those things on this earth. Of course, that's the way this earth is created. So we can go to a place, Sedona, that's it. And you get those feelings of it. But the thing is, the more you rely on those things, the inner power is extinguished. Okay, does that make sense? Because you can't have two powers. You're going to have one power, or one belief, not one power. You'll have only one power, but you'll have several beliefs. If your belief is, I have to go to Sedona, get this done so I can connect to myself, well, that's fine. That's a belief. But the more you believe in that, that means that the inner power doesn't exist. Okay? So now that we sort of got that, so in short, what they're saying is when you're looking for something or someone, like a device. I saw one the other day. I think it's called Muse or whatever it's called, but it helps you meditate. You put it on your forehead or on your ear, and it helps you take away some of the frequencies of the beta frequency. And this is where the talk and the loud noises in your head, all the activity, it drowns it out, right? And when it drowns it out, you're more able to get into that meditative zone. Now, Spirit says it does work, but they're not crazy about how it works. Okay? Again, you're relying on a device that another human has created or made to be able to connect to you inside. And they're not too much crazy about that. But it does work. So if the end justifies the means in the beginning, some people say I can't meditate because I fall asleep, or I just sit there and I get nothing. Then you should ask yourself, what is it? What is the loud noises in your head, and how come you're having a hard time not drowning it out, but to calm that down? Because you can do it naturally. And of course, these other devices, they do work. But just because they work, is it something that you want to rely on? And that's the question. So, okay, we're just at the top of the hour, so that keeps going. If you want a recording of that, I could send it to you. Just let me know, and it continues on by being able to rely on yourself. All the power is within you, and just the things that are around you triggers the very thing that you have inside of you. And so, in the beginning, it is great to do that, but in the end, you want to be able to do it all on your own. Just realize that when you were just learning the ABCs and the number system, you're not always relying on that to be able to write a book. Along the way, you find your own ways to express yourself, and you're not always going back to the very beginning. Because you're revolving all the time. So I hope you enjoyed that one. But we do classes like that all the time, and it's always about something to do with raising your vibration in some way, because you will need to do that. Because in the next year or two, the things are going to very much change, and being able to work your energy so you can think on your own. You don't need someone else to constantly feed you information, whether it's the government or the medical system or whatever system it is. I'm not saying they're right or they're wrong. I'm just saying you have your own set of ways that you could find out if something is good for you and your family. I know Susan says this all the time. If it's something that feels good, then you get it. It doesn't matter. And everything that Susan has, I feel very confident because I get an energy from it. But from a perspective of you're listening to what other people are saying, well, what are you feeling about a product or a service or a person? Because you're always going to emit that. And when you start talking about like those, you get better at making decisions because you're basing it on something inside of you. All right. So, okay, the top of the hour, and we have a quote at the end. It says, to find meaning, introduce play to your work, but to find happiness, eliminate work to your play. Okay, have yourself a great day, guys, and
Great presentation. Thank
try
you.
that challenge that we talked about to just start doing BAMs and see if it stimulates your business. And we really want to see if this really works, because the stats don't lie. We want to do it that way. So we'll see you next week, guys, and stay safe. Okay,
Yeah.
and those of you that are on Facebook Live, we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.